Me.
All right, yeah. All right, dude. Dear Heavenly Father, we're here today to bless the family and to bless the success of life and the greatness of health. Please, Father, watch over us in our time of need, anytime. Know that we have family and we have friends to support us and guide us. You, Father, put life into us. You, Father, put breath into us, and we're grateful. Thank you for this food, and thank you for this amazing film that Dante has put together. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
What's up, everybody? I'm Christian Johnson. I play the role as JoJo, and I'm excited to see the film. A little nervous, but one of the actors had a blast doing it, so now I'm ready to see the product.
As far as characters went, I think everybody was locked in. With everybody in front of the camera, behind the camera, it was an overall team effort. We weren't in there messing around too much. It was pretty back-to-back, and I appreciate that from Dante, and he was actually very, very accommodating and super loose and fluid. He trusted us, we trusted him, so it was a great synergy. I would say synergy is. So tonight, I expect to see every bit of that, honestly. I'm nervous as hell, but I look forward to the final product. I think there's a lot of talent in front and behind the camera, so we're in for a great one. It's gonna be green bean.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I'm the editor for The Other Foot. I'm just really excited to see everyone's reactions to the film. I've watched it I don't know how many times, so I'm excited to see everyone's reactions and see how everyone feels. So.
What's up, everybody? Y'all can hear me? Yeah. Alright, bet. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all coming out. First of all, everybody please give yourselves a round of applause. I deserve it. Y'all see how packed out this motherfucker is, right? Yeah. This is literally only people who have worked on or been involved with this film directly in some capacity. So just for the sake of, acknowledgement, you know what I'm saying? Just know this is what a tribe looks like, you know what I mean? I don't take this shit for granted at all. I love y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all for that.
We love you back. Yeah.
We love you, Dante.
So with that in mind, we about to hit these lights and we are gonna show you the other foot before we get into the other conversation.
I love that.
Hey, whole bitches is better than no bitches.
You know me? You know me? That's real. That's what's up, okay?
And speaking of whole bitches, I finally fucked Keisha, bro.
Nigga, you just now fucking Keisha, bro? That's gonna hang through my nigga, even for you.
Well, all of a sudden she decided to fuck unless you coerced her into it.
What? Huh? What you say? What?
Coerced, nigga.
The fuck does that mean?
Pressure, finesse, the type of shit that we lead in rape.
Yo. Hey, come on, bro. I don't even think.
I don't know what you're talking about, OG. But niggas call me weird like niggas don't know me or nothing. I told you, I ain't on no creep shit, bro.
Can take shit to that level. We know you ain't on no weird shit, bro.
Do we?
So like,
Cause bitches get coerced every day.
I'm like, let's take a deep breath first.
Okay.
Please. Good deep breath.
Yeah, that kind of hit me in the chest a little bit.
What's going through people's minds? You know what I mean?
I do not stand with Jay at all. His opinion, the whole back and forth. He needed to be the pleaser. He needed to be the peacemaker. By no means do I stand with that nigga. Like, Damon's the big homie in my head every time I see or feel any type of situation going left like that, and I'm gonna stay there.
For sure. Absolutely. What else?
So, when Dante sent it to me, I watched it, and my girl just happened to be with me. right? So we'll watch it together. Then at the end of it, so just talking about consent, right? She says, well, I would have liked to see like what happened, right?
Right.
And when she said that, I didn't think of, the thought didn't cross my mind until she asked that question. But when she said it, I was like, okay, well, isn't that part of the problem? Why do we need to see? It's clearly implied that she was reluctant in the first place, right? But that's where like the concept of consent has just been blurred. Like that's the reality of it, right? Because if we think rape, it's like, oh, she was running in the park, somebody snatched you, and like that's, if you're talking rape, whether we like it or not, that's what rape has been for the most part, if we're being honest, right? But if you're in a room with a woman, and let's just say no, she's playing hard to get, and something happens, let's be honest, we never walked around for a while until like recent years and really thought that was rape. That's true. Like he said, I had to warm her up. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's like in his mind that's probably what happened.
I've had
right?
women straight up who talk like, I don't want to have to tell you. I want you to just know.
Yeah.
You
So
get what I'm
that's
saying?
confusing. When you like, I mean, you want me to just know, but then when I put my hand on your lap, you like, I didn't want that. And it's like, wait, whoa, hold on now.
You get what
I
I'm
didn't
saying?
know what was cracking. You was giving me energy like, what's up? And then now I'm feeling like a creep. I don't want to be a creep. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I feel you.
So it gets, I think that's what it's been. And to be honest with you, even for me, not until like the Me Too movement started happening and we started hearing, then we started getting to the point, like you mentioned, it's like, yo, if she's even buzzed and she comes up to you and is like, hey, it's like, no, it's not happening. Like you start overthinking these situations and you're not even overthinking it. Just realistically, you don't know what's okay and what isn't. You understand what I'm saying? But I think for a while, that's what the situation has been. And like I said, even to pose that question, it's like, do we need to see it? We just heard she didn't want to do it, right? So I think that's been a big piece of like, hey, what does consent look like? And now you do have to explicitly ask, all right, is this happening? And if she says yes, you better ask her 3-4 more times. Yeah. I know it's not sexy, right? But it's just like, no, you gotta make sure. You understand what I'm saying? No?
That's a boy break.
You get what I'm saying? It's like, get out of that. Like,
For sure.
you understand what I'm saying? But
And granted, I think for the most part, everybody in this room is probably over about 25. And we talking from like how old you feel?
I'm 26.
Okay, you made the mark. You made the mark. You made the mark. No. My point of asking was that, in theory, I think we're all objectively kind of in a much more mature phase.
Yeah.
But when we was younger, when we was on some young wild nigga shit, like where JoJo kind of was, you know what I mean? I don't know if we had that level of self-awareness, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's also why it's necessary to have these conversations. I'm curious because we talk about consent, and we also talk about coercion. You know, there was a moment where he like, what? What do that even mean? You know what I'm saying? Which a lot of niggas really don't know what that mean, right? But
there's just no education around like sexual agency, sexual health, sexual terms. Like they don't. We have to start teaching people at a really young age, and don't.
Yeah.
Even like sometimes in certain cases, I agree that it's not even like the school's job. It's really your parents, whoever is raising you, your guardian, to have those conversations with the young people that you're raising.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just doesn't
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Based off of what you just said, right, and we're all black in this room, how many of your parents actually talk to you about that?
Oh, yeah, right.
You know, so I have, right?
About
sex.
But the thing is, even my personal conversation that I had with my parents only happened one time, and they never brought it up after that. And I'm like, there's so much more about sexuality than just one conversation. I do I appreciate my parents for at least trying to bring it up at least once, because some parents don't even do that.
It's the parents really not talking about it. Hey,
They do because they don't think so.
use protection.
That's
That's
it.
Bro. Don't get
That was my experience. Yeah, that was my experience.
Or just don't do it.
Yeah.
I would like to
Honestly,
say
you got
something.
second dick gonna fall off. Like, where?
I would like to say something on when you were saying about certain women need to know or get comfortable with the no, right? Like I said earlier, I knew a lot of people who were victims. And most of the people who were victims when they were young. So I know a lot of women that they'll tell stories like, yeah, I mean, he seemed like he wanted it, so I just did it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, so I didn't know how to say no. I don't know how I felt about it. Or one woman was like, oh, I really had to pee one time, and I went into the bathroom, and I had this shirt. I don't wear a bra a lot, and I went to the male's bathroom, and this guy said, oh my God, you got really nice titties, and tried to grab my titties. It's my fault because I went to the men's bathroom. I was like, for him to grab your titties? But then I realized, I was like, oh, I can't tell you because you have the victim mind. You went through this experience. You don't know how to really stand up for yourself because it's the little girl in you or the little person in you who your sister's brother snuck in your bedroom and rubbed on your titties and did these things to you. And you didn't know, and because they seem to have a happy family, you don't want to mess up anything, you choose not to say nothing. Or it's your mom's new boyfriend, and you don't want to say anything. So you got used to not speaking for yourself. And I don't know how to give. So when they do get with these guys and they ask questions, they might ask, do you have consent? They don't even know themselves how to give consent. They don't know what they want or what they don't want. And a lot of times that happens.
Can I? But you go. You go ahead.
I was about to say, I think it's a thin line. I've had this conversation before where it's like when I was younger, I used to dress way more sexualized. And I was in the studio one time and a guy thought it was okay to just reach in and try to kiss me. And so when I talked to my male friends about it, they were like, well, you got to understand the consequences that comes with what you wear. And while I understand that, it doesn't make it right. But at the same time, like, if you are going to present yourself in a certain way, it doesn't make it right. You will have to deal with some niggas that's super red pill, super like, I'm going to just take advantage. And so, that's that conversation of if a woman was stuck in the forest with a bear or a man, who would you take? And most women are saying bear. That's a scary truth, I feel like. And I feel like it's toting on that thin line of if we can present ourselves as freely as possible without the fear of being attacked. So a lot of things that has happened in my life, I've had to change the way I am just to protect myself as a woman. And I feel like it's not fair, but you do got to understand the reality of the world that we live in, like especially even in other countries, because rape happens usually by the closest person to you, your boyfriend, your partner, not some random person.
Any other thoughts around that? Because I mean, in general, this shit started from a video that I peeped on Twitter with the rap. Y'all know who Suki is? Rapper Suki the rapper. Yeah, Suki. And essentially, she was. If y'all don't know, she not only does she rap, and her and Sexy Red kind of got like a 1-2 punch going when she was first coming out, but she got OnlyFans and all this other kind of shit, and she parades it like, she like, I'm a nasty bitch. This is happening. You know what I'm saying? And there was a rapper named YK Osiris, and they were at a celebrity basketball game, and he forcibly kissed her on some like, playing like, come here, give me a kiss. She's like, no, laughing at first, and he got serious. And apparently, she got really triggered by it. And she went on Twitter to talk about how she had got really triggered about the fact that, he had forced a kiss on her, and they ate her ass alive. They were like, bitch, you suck dick on camera. Don't you twerk on kids. This and that. Like, they was going crazy, you know what I'm saying? And it tripped me out because, in a sense, I'm kind of like, they not wrong. But at the same time, I'm like, and I think I cracked this joke a little bit with some of you. Like, if a prostitute say no in the middle, like, she don't owe you coochie, she owe you a refund. You know what I'm saying? But like, where do we draw that line? Even a sex worker should own agency over sexuality and ability to say no, you know what I mean? But that made me and Aaron start talking. I think Bree's part of that too in the conversations and shit. It's like, I think Aaron was like saying something about like niggas would never know unless, you know, they was actually in that position. And I was like, yeah, I know that'd be crazy. And I was like, I'm gonna write it. And then this was born. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. You know, I do hear a lot of conversations around like, you know, look at how you dress, or, you know, like, bitches be lying.
I mean, it's all just victim blaming at the end of the day. I mean, there was, I forget who the name of the artist, but she had a art display in New York City of women who came forward and showed the outfit. Like, she like framed the outfits that they wore when they got sexually assaulted.
Oh, and someone was like, I was in my wedding dress.
Yeah, and none of them were wearing anything overtly sexual. None of them. Pajamas, sweats, a wedding dress. No one was in a bikini. No one was in a sexy corset. Everyone was wearing normal clothes. So, at the end of the day, like, being an overtly sexual person doesn't give anyone the right to treat you that way.
I agree. I'm curious to hear from some of the dudes what y'all think about this shit. Because honestly, I made this shit for niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes, and granted, I want to make sure there was a lot of accountability, even on my behalf as a creator. So that's why I wanted so many women involved with the process, you know? But we don't like to engage with this type of shit a lot. You know what I'm saying? We get quiet. We like, all right. That's the safest thing to say, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we got our private conversation. So I want to say this is a safe space, you know what I mean? Without standing in judgment of each other and shit like that. But on the real tip, like, when we hear that kind of stuff about, like, you know, what you wear don't define how you are, this and that, like, what do y'all think? Go ahead, Gary.
I was gonna say, man, there's layers to this. There's so many layers. For me, the ultimate form of masculinity is vulnerability. And that vulnerability we saw displayed in this short film between men, the conversation, because that conversation, you're right? I think amongst guys that I know, myself, like, there's been that joke and that talk about those things behind closed doors, right? And it's a joke to us. But then when we really stop to think about it, like, no, this is happening. This is going on. And just to see that transpire in this format, I really appreciated that, because I've always said I wish I could be in a room where we actually talk about these things, right? It's one thing to talk about our exploits and the fun that we have, but to put the shoe on the other foot is to have the I used to be Dante in another lifetime. but to really put the shoe on the other foot is to feel and understand where a woman comes from in these dealings. Yeah. You know, like, how does a woman truly feel?
I'm interested to hear really from men and women, but
so I realized in my career that I've been around sex work in a different type of way. I went to college,
Let's elaborate on that. Goddamn, living an exciting life, nigga.
I went to college in Miami.
Right.
And at the time, I was very slim, and Miami's hot and humid. So I went to nude beaches. I liked doing it. That was like my favorite thing to do. When I looked at my nudity, my mother was a nudist, and I just looked at my nudity as freedom. Right. And a lot of the Bang Bros guys would try to recruit. And they recruited a lot of girls in our school. And I told myself, they tried to come to me, but I was like, hell no, you know. I'm still from DC. What I'm talking about? And so, but they were like, "Can you shoot?" And I was like, "Nah. I'm hearing horror stories." And it's funny because there was a young lady from Maryland, very sweet girl. We lost her for a period of time. We didn't know where she was, where she went. I think her family from Lebanon. And they ran through the college looking for her. Look good. Come to find out, we was watching TV, and my homeboy come downstairs. They're like, "Yo, we gotta watch something." I'm like, "What the fuck these dudes on? There's some funny shit. They trying to put on porn, but as a group, community porn."
Community porn is crazy.
The whole time, Dip is, having sex with 10 guys, and they was like, "How do you tell her parents?" And now Dip does a lot of talking for sex workers and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I realized in between in my life where I was so comfortable with sexuality, it's because of my mom, but also I had a lot of friends who were sexually abused, and I ended up being an ear for them. And I sat on both sides, and I grew up with a lot of men. And another thing I'll talk about to be quick is in college, the raw deal, my professor was Billy Corbin, and he did raw deal, which is basically in some college, I think in Florida, some strippers came to a frat house and they claimed rape, and it was a court case against it. So it's kind of similar. All the girls left, but one girl came back, and the guys had footage of her coming back, telling the guy like, "Oh, you want to fuck me hard? You want to fuck me hard?" And he's like, "Yeah," and then she said it was rape. And so he asked everybody to the film, like, "Do you think it was rape?" I'm like, "Hell no." She's like, "Fuck me hard." Like, what the fuck? But as I get older now and even working with some sex workers, she was saying that she was thinking that she was feeding into what she knew he wanted so he can hurry up so she can go. And as I got older and more mature, I was like, oh, perhaps that's the situation. So it is a gray line when you're inebriated. How you dress don't always have to do nothing. Because I'm just thinking that nudity is art. I shouldn't want to it's hot as shit in Miami. I ain't about to put on so much of clothes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think somebody should think about what they have on because of someone not being able to control their sexual urges. But I do think there is a gray line between understanding how to keep yourself safe as a woman and a man.
So let me ask that question to the room, because this is for men and women, right? When you got a partner, what are some of your best practices? What do you do to articulate clarity about consent? I know that's weird to say, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you communicate and move with your partner? Go ahead, Andre and Simone.
I always say I'll never do anything that you don't want to do, and just leave it from there.
You say them words straight up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay, straight up. What was you about to say, Simone?
I was gonna say that, and it's a similar thought that I was having throughout this whole thing, that the solution to all of this is the destigmatization of sex and people being able to be brave and confident in what they want and don't want to do. I think that your original question about how female rappers have become more sexualized and what that does for this conversation, I think it helps. Because originally, when men are talking about how they're going to sexualize women, there's no agency of the woman. It's what the man should have based on what he has, how she's going to fold, whatever. Now it is almost a conversation of enthusiastic consent, of a woman being like, this is what I got going on, this is who I want to do it with, this is who I don't want to do it with. Broke niggas don't deserve no pussy, and things like that. So my feeling is, as myself, my personal experience, I'm a very open person. I'm lifestyle, if y'all know what that means. And that is a space where you have very open conversations about what you like to do, what you don't like to do. I've been in safe spaces where people push the limits and I have to shut them down. And that took a lot of time for me to grow into, because being a woman, you're conditioned to be agreeable. And being agreeable is how Keisha might have ended up in the situation that Keisha didn't want to be in. That is not Keisha's fault. But we all kind of have to we have to find our strength in our no. And we have to find people who we can say I know confidently with. And that is my feeling.
But dudes in here, do y'all feel like it's hard to have these conversations? Or even keeping it a buck, keeping it super funky, do y'all avoid even having these type of conversations with niggas? Because I know for me, I've had to be the terrorist in most of my friend groups. They hate to see me at the barbershop. You already know, man. I don't need to be at the barbershop. They been there chilling. I mean, I'm gonna have some controversy every time. You feel me? But like, do y'all feel like it's hard to have these kind of conversations when you hear something that might sound weird from one of your niggas, and like, how do you address it, or do you?
That just don't become my nigga no more. Simple, like, because it's a hard thing for me to grasp. I mean, women can wear whatever the hell they want to wear. If I have daughters one day, I'm gonna tell you to wear whatever you want to wear. But you gotta understand, there's gonna be people out there who are gonna try to use that against you and take advantage of you simply because you were showing things that might be appealing to the male. That's something that men have. That's why whenever we do have those conversations and you get looked at as like a terrorist, I'm really flipping that mirror on a demon. Like, you need to look at yourself and figure out why it is you think you're so entitled to a woman's body who you, one, don't even know, never touched her before, you can't even tell her what her favorite color is. And I see that a lot of places I go. I've talked to a number of different women. I've even entangled them. I can't sleep with a woman until I know her background, I swear to God, because you want to make them look like, you just got to be accommodated in this day and age more than ever, because you can walk past 10 women on the sidewalk, I feel like at least 8 of them have had some type of entanglement that they would not have ever wished on anybody else, simply.
I would even say to err on the side of, you mentioned that, why do men feel entitled, right? Most of us in here are of age to remember BET, but remember BET Uncut?
Oh yeah, that's my shit.
So
I love hoes, what can I say?
Like, we grew up in an environment that made men feel entitled, because it's like, I could just watch women shake their ass all day in a Ludacris music video or a Snoop Dogg music video, and I think that I can go out on the streets and get the same thing, you know? But reality versus entertainment, reality, no, that's not gonna fly, right? That's all just solely for entertainment. And to see that transfer into entitlement, where as men we feel that that's what we're owed.
I think to add on to that, the entitlement comes more so when you've built a relationship with a woman. 9 times out of 10, and it happens, it's not going to be a random man on the street trying to quote unquote rape you. It's someone that you've been talking to. It's someone that you've been in a relationship with. It's someone that you've had a situationship with. And maybe one of you guys have grown in a way. They found the Lord and they want to, go celebrate until they get married. That's the entitlement, I think, that comes from men, just to give, grace to some men who have built relationships with certain women and think that that's the thing, because there wasn't no clear communication, because there's a lot of toxic communication amongst us as black women and black men. And so I feel like we can talk about that type of entitlement too, versus just, a random person on the street. Because how do you have a conversation with a woman that you've been sexually intimate with, and then all of a sudden she claims like you forced on her, like that's a scary thing. And I know I've heard a lot of men say, if they're drunk, I'm not messing with it. I don't even want to ask. I don't even go smack at women no more, because they have to throw themselves at me. And that means you're going to get the type of woman that's sexually over or doesn't really want to have a long-term relationship. Certain type of woman, that's fine. Do what you want to do. But how do you build real meaningful relationships with women who've been traumatized and scarred, and who's to blame? We could go even further to slavery and all the other things, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. So I've been in a situation before early in my, sexual career. The girl was real in tune with Christianity and stuff like that. So word got around in her church that, we was involved or whatever, and then she claimed rape. And then the mom, she's out trying to call you at school, and you're going to get kicked out, all this, da-da-da-da. And I'm just in class, family was like, yo, Dave, you raped this girl. Now, for me, I'm a bigger dude, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just taking me aback, because, one, we never had sex. I never got on top. I never forced. I never even, was it never got that. She was like, yeah, I'm trying to do this with you. And I'm like, a little apprehensive. So for all this to hit the fan later, like for the rest of my career, I don't even like, you gotta damn near rape me if this is what you want from me, because I'm terrified. Like I'm a little scarred in that way. So when I see this, it's kind of like I appreciate the conversation that we can have. I don't talk to many people about it. I kind of just stepped away from that whole situation. So when I see things that could potentially be rape or miscommunication, it's just like, nah. I've been on a weird angle, so you want to make sure whatever it is that you're doing is clear. Like if she intoxicated or whatever out of her mind, you can't even be high for real. Like you gotta be straight up sober, and you gotta make sure it's clear. You gotta make sure you having these conversations beforehand.
And the thing about it is like, and you know, another reason I made this shit was because I was like, I mean, most of y'all know I've hung out with mostly women my whole life, especially like, you know, Clive, Gary, Marco, all, you know, who invested in this film, they've known me since high school, you know what I mean, like 9th grade type shit. I've always hung out mostly with women. I just started hanging out with niggas like in college, you know what I mean? But like I've always had a lot of women friends. The truth of the matter is, and I say this shit, I mean, I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women friends over the years. I can't count more than what can go on this one hand, and really not even fill up the hand of women who have never experienced sexual assault or rape. But I've never heard of a nigga ever admitting to, yo, when I was younger I made a mistake, or I didn't understand, whatever, or woo, you know what I'm saying? So that's alarming when I got all nieces, I got goddaughters and shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and they get into that high school age, I know what's coming. It's a nigga right now, like, you gonna suck my dick? You know what I'm saying? That make me want to go kill somebody. You feel me? But like, also I understand that we was all little young horny ass teens and didn't know the fucking difference. So like, I think there's an education issue, and that's why we gotta kind of address it. You feel me? I'm curious, just to pivot a little bit. You know, like Christian, for you, because you, how many times did I make you read for JoJo? 3. I made you read, I think, 3 times. And if you remember correct, I was like, I don't know. You're just too nice. I don't know if you, I just couldn't tell if he had it. I was like, if he could nigga it up enough for me. You know what I'm saying? He really, I mean, y'all, the proof is in the pudding. The man can act like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Let's give a hand for him one more time. I'm curious for you specifically, because I know how uncomfortable it was. And, you know, I'll let you speak if you want to speak to the vulnerability of playing that role, because we had some moments, you know what I'm saying? But like, what did it take to be able to tap into that and really go there to channel this character?
Well, I mean, so I had never experienced anything like that, and I had never, like, none of my homegirls, I've never talked with them, but to my knowledge, I don't know if they've experienced that themselves. So I was like, how am I going to do this? And I remember trying all different things in the bathroom. Like, okay, let's try this and try this and try this. And so I said, I don't have no point of reference. But then I said, well, what if JoJo don't have point of reference as well? We both experienced it together. Mm-hmm. So I think the very last 2 shots, because this was after Damon had threw me to the ground a couple of times. And so I was getting tired, but then the last 2 times, yeah, damn, Damon. I was like, but the last 2 times I had to let it become real. Yeah. And so I had to see Damon in a different way. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to Christian about, like, you know, the whole process of dropping in and like what I was gonna do the next day to just forget. And so after I wiped hands, like, nah, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not me, and it's not me. And then watching it again, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that day. Very strong.
Yeah. So, were there any reservations about playing a role like this, or, you know, family or just personal, and just like you portray it so well. You know, some people don't know the difference between acting and reality. You know what I'm saying? But how did you process that? Because in a sense, you like a protagonist, antagonist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what was that like for you?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I was figuring out the day up because growing up, my family teach all men to be respectful, and so in terms of like talking to us about conversation of consent, we didn't have that conversation. My sisters and my cousins, the women did, and so they were very big on protecting themselves, like physically. Like I remember my mom telling my older sister, if you ever find yourself in a position like that, you got to either be knocked out or ready to die by it, or go to the far end. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't know. So then when reading the script, and I watched, there's an episode in Different World where this guy was trying to rape one of the characters. I can't remember any. I think Wayne or one of them came and saved it. They was in a car or whatnot. And I started thinking about that. And then I started thinking about Saucy Santana. And so I was like, okay, this is how they felt. And this is what they talked about. And so I just found my way through there.
Yeah. You great job. Great job for sure. Sorry, I'm looking at
The Dante. Hey, a question, like, as a writer, director, producer, all that good stuff, like, the dynamic of all four of us as characters, would you, in another world, in another life, like, write Jay, because I was really, like, getting mad, like, fuck, because I'm encouraging the behavior that's so far beyond me. Would you ever have it like 3v1, or like we gonna put you on the spot? Like,
ironically, I did kind of consider. I considered a lot of different ways this conversation could go when I was first writing it, and that's why we have tune-up. You know what I'm saying, to get notes and things of that nature. But you know, I think there's a part of me from a writing perspective that's like, if I made it a 3 versus 1 type of put you on the spot situation, it becomes more of a PSA, right? It's so, unfortunately, it's so unrealistic that type of shit be happening in conversations with niggas. Most dynamics, we all doing the little alpha man check each other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You can't do too much without me like, pipe your ass down. Why you picking on him? Whatever. Somebody's gonna jump in and try to, you know, make it an even playing field. And though I think that would be beneficial and great if that's how it happened in real life, it don't. So I feel like sometimes it's more beneficial to teach through tragedy than it is through some unrealistic version of how this conversation might go. What I pray happens is that niggas watch this joint and they do start jumping on a little nigga, you know, together on some like, you think you cool? Like, you're not cool, nigga, you weird. Like, stop being, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, that's not how you get it. I hope they jump on a nigga like how Tyrell jumped on JoJo one-on-one or something like, look, I know you think getting bitches is cool, but they gotta choose you. You know what I mean? And that's why I just tried to keep it as authentic as possible. Even down to like, you know, I think when we was reading tune-up, somebody asked, why do they gotta be bitches? And why you gotta, you know, whatever. And I'm like, because unfortunately, that's how a lot of niggas talk. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to make this film for the niggas who listen to Common and Smoke. I'm trying to make this film for the niggas who listen to Gucci and motherfucking Kodak Black. Like, they gotta hear it in a language that they can hear, you know what I'm saying, to be able to code switch and at least be able to, because at the, you know, I found a gray hair in my head. I got another gray hair in my nose. Yeah, I'm realizing I'm kind of falling into that space where some of the younger people will look at me and the reference out of respect. Not that I haven't done anything to make me an OG, but just out of respect, what's up, OG? And I'm like, fuck your little ass talking to. But I'm like, damn, I guess I am kind of becoming one of the OGs in that sense. So we hold a responsibility to make sure that little niggas is getting it. You know what I mean?
I genuinely think so.
Our words is important. So in the same breath that I can say, I love hoes, which, you know, I think we all do in some capacity. Until you find someone as beautiful as Elena. I love hoes, but in the same breath. In the same breath also, you feel me? Like, yeah, we gotta be smart about the way we move, and we gotta be respectful, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, consent is everything, you feel me? Like, it's important.
I got a question, because I think we talked a lot about women being victims, and in my life, I had 3 men come to me about being victims.
For sure.
One man, a very older man, and he said he was 11. He didn't say he was a victim, though. He said when he was 11, his babysitter used to suck him off. He was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He said hit that. I'm like, you was right. You was right.
Yeah.
How old was she? He was like 18. I was getting this at 18-year-old 11. I was like, no, you was getting raped. He's like, even if she's getting me here, I'm like, yeah. But it's like in his mind, he didn't catch it. Yeah. And then the other guy, he was confused whether or not he was bisexual because a man did something to him.
Yeah.
And then after that, another guy told me how a woman just threw herself on him before, kind of like in a high school situation, and he felt like he had to sleep with her.
Yeah.
You know, to be there because she was so aggressive. She was playing with his manhood. And I don't think a lot of men, I don't know if men in their circles with each other talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what exactly? What you mean?
Just have those conversations about
like whether we wanted to or not, or even just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know about y'all, but my niggas don't talk about that shit.
Or if y'all do,
We don't.
from what I've heard, it's always been a thing that's been praised. Like, yeah, you got an older woman, like that's great.
I mean, let me go ahead, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I've been getting this. It's like
I've definitely met some dudes who've lost their virginity in jump off situations with an older woman. Like,
but was it? But see, like,
but granted, like you said, that's
statutory rape.
It is, and that's the thing that it's never been thought of in that way. It was like
it was a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So. And like even to
Don't get it wrong though, bro. Like I think niggas is looking at it like that though because like the safety part isn't necessarily there. Like if I'm 12 and the shorty is 18, I can still take her. Like you know, like
you don't know.
Maybe.
Don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe you're 12.
But it's more. I think for
but you're right. Though.
I think for women it's more of a clear like I'm at a physical disadvantage here.
Okay.
Whereas niggas like yes, that shit is fucked up, but I'm not like scared for my life.
Yeah.
When you got your friends and around you, or whatever the case may be, it's, man, I don't want to say that. I'm scared of what Gary may say. Mm-hmm. I'm scared of what Clive may say. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just be quiet about it. So you silence yourself because you're going to be that guy. Oh, dude, what do you mean? Like, you should be happy that happened. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily. Because I guarantee you a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but I'm pretty sure there's more guys who lost their virginity to an experienced woman who really wasn't comfortable with it, kind of just went along with it as well, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot.
It's tricky. I have 2 questions real quick. One, because that scene was very intense once it actually got to the point, you know what I'm saying? And Sid, you had to watch that probably about 20 million thousand times just to create that. You know what I mean? What was that experience like for you in terms of trying to make it scarier and scarier while also kind of like, did it to the point did you become numb to it or like what was?
I never became numb to it. I would say like the first time I edited, I was super uncomfortable. Like I watched it out once I was kind of done, and I just sat back and I'm like, oh my god, like I felt weird about shaping that scene, myself, and I don't know. It just was a very weird feeling that never fully went away. Yeah. I think I just had to focus on what the goal was to get through it. Knowing that, you know, I wanted to have these conversations, like have the film have these like previous conversations with the audience and stuff. That was like why I wrote this time. But yeah, that feeling never went away.
My bad.
No, you're good. I think, like, I mean, editing is a very, like, empathetic position to put yourself in. I've edited things that are very hard to look at numerous times. So I'm always focused on, like, the goal when I have to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
And why am I doing this? What do I want to take? What do I want to come from this? Yeah.
For sure. I mean, you nailed it. And can I just, and once again, I don't want nobody to do nothing you're not comfortable with, right? But from a personal perspective, you know what I'm saying? Have there been, if you're comfortable talking about situations where you did experience either coercion or some sort of assault and you didn't speak up to not even tell them or another person, and if you didn't, I'm just curious from your personal experience, like, why didn't you? Like, what was the thing that stopped you? Karen, you haven't spoke yet.
Well, I have two situations. When I was 19, I dated someone, and they were my boyfriend, and he was raping me for an amount of time. And then I'm trying to think because it was a while ago. I was 19. But I went with him to Lancaster, and my mom was like, don't go. And I went anyways. I went out there, raped me again while I was out there. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I got to get out of here. So left them, told one person. She happened to live out there. She was hood and ghetto. I said, that's a perfect person to call. Mm-hmm. She came there. Her boyfriend happened to be a cop. Came. The guy had stole like my he like stole something from, like, he wouldn't give something back to me, and I was like, I really need that back, and they ended up getting it back or whatever. But we didn't I didn't tell the police for one reason, because he knew where my mom lived, and he would tell me that he was gonna come shoot my mom's house up. And I never told the police. I did do the rape kit at the hospital, so I know it was in there. But honestly, I have that fear. And then as a 32-year-old woman looking now, I feel like I want to get emotional. Looking now, I would probably have him put into jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, just looking back at the whole situation, I'm like, dang, I could have did that. I could have did something a whole different way. But anyway, I could cry all day. But that's one situation. But
it's okay.
With the coercion, I think I told you about the situation. There was a guy that I dealt with, like, in high school. I never slept with him or anything like that. We dealt with each other on and off. We didn't. So I guess I was like 18. So then it got to, like, I guess when I was like 30, we spoke again. And mind you, I hadn't seen him throughout that time. And he's nice. Like, he's my friend's cousin. He's cool. So I'm like, oh, whatever. We're talking. He's like, oh, I want to come see, like, he said he wanted to come see me. And I was like, okay, cool. And he came to my house. He met my kids and everything like that. And he left or whatever. A couple of days passed. I was like bored. I'm like, dang, I should invite him over. So I invited him over, but then I immediately was like, nah, I don't really want him to come. Told him not to come. He came anyway. He said, no, I'm still coming. Now he knocked on my door. Should I have opened the door? Or did I have to open the door? Didn't. He came in. Y'all, that entire night, the scariest night, I think I told you, scariest night I've ever had. I did have sex with him, but I felt like I think what she was saying, if I didn't know what was going to happen. Right. So at the end of it, I wanted him to go home. He wouldn't go home. He said, no, it's late. I'm going to stay on this couch. I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning. I laid in my bed, crying the entire night. Could have called the police, didn't. After that, never spoke to him. He was reaching out to me. He's even tried, like, even as of recent, I had to explain to him, and even his cousin had to explain to him, that was rape, man. Like, that was rape, and he just didn't. I feel like over the years, I think it was like 2, I'm 32, it was like 30. Like, 2, over the years, we had to explain to him, like, what you did was wrong. And he told me one time, he said, I feel like you owed it to me.
Wow.
Wow.
Crazy.
He said, for all those years you didn't, I feel like you should have did that. So,
yeah. Well, shout out to you. Shout out to you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And shout out to you with that right felt, because you have a voice, and a lot of times people in those situations get muted. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's very, very brave for you to check up, regardless of how he reacted. You did yourself justice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yo, but you know what? I actually heard Dave Chappelle say, which is real, and I hope this doesn't like branch off, but when he was talking about this was during the Me Too movement, right? And then he speaks to it, because the reality is it was white women that started that, right? Then he says, like, he ties in the joke, somehow he brings a point home, like, yo, you don't think this hasn't been happening to black women? It's been happening to black women, but the thing is with black women, they're always protecting black men. So half the time it's happening, you're like, I don't know why I didn't call the police, right? There's a part of you that knows what's going to happen to him, and there's still a part of you, even though you just experienced that, right? You don't want him to go to, like, you're still thinking about him somehow. And when he said that, I was like, oh shit. Because that, I mean, there's a lot of truth in that.
Literally,
and that's the reality of it.
Say that because, I mean, what we seen with Megan Thee Stallion, she came forward and was like, I mean, I want you to have consequences for your actions or whatever, or maybe we just talk about it and make up, but I don't want you to go into the system. It changes your life. And recently, my sister was assaulted at college, physically assaulted, not sexually, oh God, but shitty ass experience, shitty booty ass experience. And basically she was like, they're like, do you want to press charges? And she was like, I just want the school to handle it. Like, I want him to be in trouble, but I don't want him in the system, pretty much. And either way, none of it got taken care of for them. So it's just unfortunate for women. And then in the case of like situations, I think, like you said, Aaron, like fear, definitely fear of like you don't want this person to be in the system, and like it just like boils over to a different point. I had an experience with a guy that I was kind of talking to. I probably shouldn't have been talking to, but we were in the car and we were just chilling, talking, and then out of nowhere I heard the doors lock, and like fear kind of just like went over my body, and I was like, okay, I have like an option. I can like make a scene, get the fuck out, or I could just go along with this and just get it over with, because I don't want it to be rape, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of girls are just like, let's just get the sex over with, because I don't want it to be the screaming and the no and all that. So I went through with that. And then when I was younger, a friend of mine, and this is why this is such a challenging conversation, because it's so circumstantial, so situational, everything is so different with everybody, and we have to keep talking about it. But we were really young, we were in like high school. My friend had a boyfriend, and she woke up one night to her boyfriend having sex with her. Like, she did not consent at all. She was asleep, and she just woke up, and I'm like, well, what did you do? And she's like, I just had to kind of go along with it, because it was just so startling. I don't want it to be rape, pretty much. So it's just, you know, we had to really have a long conversation, like, well, is that okay? Like, did you want to do that? Da-da-da. So, and I don't think he knew either, because men just kind of think they, like you said, they're your boyfriend. They kind of have a right to do that stuff, and no one had that conversation with them. So education is like a huge factor in this, especially for the youth, because they're not separating the entertainment from the reality. And we're older now, and we're having these conversations, and we're not scared to. And that's another thing I was going to say, which is, sorry, I'm being long-winded, but I think your parents deciding to just be open in general in conversation, because I had such strict parents and very like tyrant ass parents and very bicho ass parents. We couldn't have those conversations about anything, so I was always scared to open up about anything. And then you go out in the world and
you're scared
fucking up the hard way. Yeah, pretty much. Or you are afraid to challenge people. You're afraid to stand up for yourself. You're afraid to stand up to what is perceived as authority. And I had to really take power in my no when I got way older, which kind of sucked. I went through a lot of shit I shouldn't have, because I didn't know how to be like, fuck no. Now, before I was like, no, maybe no. I don't know. Just like, bitch.
The thing about it is like,
Quick question. It's kind of arose a thought. It's kind of arose a thought of cause we never see Keisha. We don't know who Keisha is. We don't know what she look like.
Right.
But she's hypothetical.
For sure.
In my own personal experience and some of my friends' experience, we can talk to Oliver about this. Some women we've been around and tried to entertain with enjoy being degraded, and that's something that I can't seem to grasp. I mean, like, you enjoy being, as they like, put me in my place, put me, like, I want you to Pray the pants. What the fuck does that even mean? But
What exactly what it means.
to that point, like I understand where that comes from now, but that's also with mine too, because it's confusing. You don't know.
That involves consent too.
Exactly.
Even if you want to be the great, you want to be called the B word. I like that kind of stuff, but we have to talk about it first.
Yeah.
So like,
Conversations have to get.
yeah, you have to have a conversation. The conversation is so important. Because if a man call me a bitch, I'll be like, what? But if this other man call me, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it really matters. It really matters. Oh, that's so.
Yeah, if we go back to the conversation of consent, I was going to say that, like, when you asked, how do you do that with your partner? I was going to say, I straight up have a conversation and ask him, like, can I do, and he'll be like, oh yeah, you can do that. Or he'll ask me, can I do blah, blah, blah? Yup, you can do that. No, don't do that. Like, so we have a straightforward conversation, like everyone else says, sober, before any intoxication can even happen. And then, yeah, we don't have to, there's no blurred lines. Just literally talk about it, just be bold enough to ask.
Piggybacking off of that though, and like Simone has said and so on and so forth, that learning to have a voice part, that comes with maturity, because it sounds like you kind of like grew up with having someone in your life, or certain people have kind of like put that in you to like say yes. Say, even like you talking about your parents, you know, that's a foundation type of thing. And a lot of times in these situations, it takes us years. It took me literally my late 20s before like I finally was like confident in my no, confident in my yes, because I was a yes girl all my life. I fucked around, all right. I tell my shit, but it's only because I know that the majority of them I wanted to say no to, and I just agreed to say yes to. And so like even up until last year, like where I felt like I was getting confident in my no and stuff like that, and I was like feeling like I really was holding it down, I was still raped. I felt, and I was intoxicated, and it still happened. And because I was so used to the trauma of like, of not saying no and was finally feeling confident, I felt like, how could this happen now that I've learned to say no? And it made me not want to go to the police, because it's like, obviously the black women in America, how much do they care? Like, are they going to actually do something? And I was like, I didn't, not that I want to protect him. It was more so of like, look, what are they going to actually do? Like, if I take this to the police, what are they actually going to do? What evidence do I have? Is my word versus his word? And it was the one thing that convinced me to do it was I called my friend in the middle of it happening, and I didn't even know because I was intoxicated, and I left her a voicemail. And it was just noise, a sound, and it was a very uncomfortable one. And she was like, call the police. And I did, and I went through it, and still nothing happened. Went through the process, and I was like, even that voicemail alone, that didn't do anything, because it was a clear, you didn't want this, right? And it made me like, afterwards, it was like, see? What was the point, you know? And the one thing that held me down was God. I will say that is that relationship with God was like, I don't know why that happened. I even was like, if this was me at 23 when I was reckless, he reminded me like, and I was like, I would have killed myself back then. At least I have the courage to not do that now, you know? And everything has a bigger purpose. And, you know, we don't understand the why right now, but I'm willing to see the why and stay alive for that. So, you know, it's that foundation. It really is in that foundation. That's why I teach Brio now. I'm so raw with my 5-year-old. To like, me and my boyfriend was just talking about the tooth fairy and telling her, like, she asked me because she lost another tooth, and she was like, you know, God said don't lie, right? Did you actually put my tooth under? And I was like, well, I don't lie. I did. And, you know, and so, and he was like, dang, why'd you ruin it for her? And I'm just like, that's just our relationship. If my next child is different, that's different. But I would rather, I don't care, that whole age thing, or you shouldn't know that because your age, I've never subscribed to that, because I've lived a life of like, shut up, be quiet, I run this, I'm the parent, and I've seen how that played out for me, and I never want that to be for my children or any child. You know, we have to start at that foundation to actually give them that courage, learn them to, you know, they got to really learn those things from the home first, and that age, defined by age thing, I don't think should be a real thing. I think we should alter it in a way to where it's not vulgar, but she learns, she knows. If you know my baby, you know that she is very intelligent, to say the least. And I think that's where it really helps. And like
for men or women, how you are being raised, because a lot of us don't grow with the father, or they have these regular societal norms that are not actually of, you know, of love and of purity, you know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I digress, yeah.
Thank you for that vulnerability.
Yeah.
For sharing that. I'm sorry you went through that.
Got good.
All the time.
All the time.
I was just gonna say thank you for sharing, by the way. But on the other side of it, I was raised by European German white mom, and my dad's black, and so she was very open with me since I was 2 about sex, which made me more so the aggressor when it came to my sexuality. And there's been situations where I was aggressive with a man, trying to have sex with a man, and they felt uncomfortable, and it threw me off because I'm like, I thought this is what you want, and I used my sexuality as what I thought was power. It wasn't until a man of God came into my life and said, you don't have to do this, you don't have to be this way. And even in me and Dave's relationship, there's times where I'm inebriated and I come home like, babe, let's do it, and he's like, You're my safe space, though. He met me in my whole year, so I came off very like, I'm ready to do whatever with you. And then he was like, nah, let's reshape that. Let me show you where your value's at. And so even still, when I get inebriated and get back into that thing, he'll be like, nah. And I'm like, but you're my safe space. I trust you. I know if, you know, I'm drunk, I really want to do it. And next day I'm not going to say I didn't want to do it. And he's like, nah, I don't even play like that because of his experience. So just on the other side of just being the aggressor as a woman, like is also I can see where men go wrong, because it's a certain level of power that you have with your sexuality and your sexual freedom and the nudity and stuff like that. My mom was also walked around butt naked with my mom all the time. So it's just one of those situations where I had a learning curve with it as well. But I've also been molested. I've also been sexually assaulted. So, and I knew I was being sexually assaulted at the time, but I just thought, let me take my power back. And then the abused became the abuser. And if it wasn't for this man, I'd probably be, I don't know, just letting you know, complete transparency. So that God thing that you talked about was really impactful for me, because I'm on that spiritual journey, and he really will sit you down and show you what real masculine and feminine love is. And, you know, so that's all. I like that.
Let me just say, sorry, I didn't know.
Go ahead.
I also grew up with a very raw, butt naked mom. Back to Simone's points, because we have destigmatized sex, period. We have to talk about this with our kids, because one, childhood sexual abuse is rampant, like on another level. It's really scary. And I worked at the YMCA for like 6 years, and we had to do a lot of training with that, and I'm just like, yeah, these conversations have to be had. You, like what you said, you have to kind of make it age appropriate, but they still have to understand what's good and bad touch. What are the actual names of our private parts? Like, you know, if this happens to you, you can tell me no matter what. Like, or what does grooming look like? You know, like there's so many different things.
Grooming is a big one.
Because it's just like, that person shouldn't be smoking cigarettes with you or letting you watch porn at that age or whatever, and then holding it over your head like, oh, I'm sorry, Mom, you did that. You know? So it's a challenging conversation, but I'm going to be that with my children too.
That fear, you gotta eliminate that fear for the bigger purpose in the end, in the long run.
Even with like the church too kind of frustrates me, because it's like it just becomes we should not talk about this conversation. And in that gray area of not knowing, so much danger happens, even with the men. And when I've spoken to men about, you know, their experience being sexually abused and them not knowing it, it's like the damage isn't really what's the same, but it's like psychological, and it happens later, and it messes up their frame of like, what does a real, genuine, beautiful, sexual, healthy relationship look like? And they're robbed of that and don't know it till they're way older, which like really sucks.
So it was funny. I was actually, right before you said that, I was going to ask, I mean, especially for the women in the room, for the young girls, right? What does that conversation look like for her to know that if something happens, right, or you're crashing at your uncle's house, your cousin's house, right, because sometimes that's when it happens, you don't know. It's like, right? So how, like, what do you do, or what will be yours opinion to put that confidence in her to know that if that happens, you come home and you tell us, right?
My mom and my grandmother, although they were very aggressive, it's very similar to someone who said that I think it was you who said the women in your family said you better fight to the death for it. Yeah. My grandmother, as a little girl, used to put keys in between her hands and like, I'm giving you these keys. You just got the shit out of me. You also bite anything once you touch that thing. You also bite you bite it. She told me like this. She said back to seven. She said, but don't let go till you get blood. I want you to get the piece of meat. That's how hard it fight is. She said because your body and this I'm like 4 and I'm not but it's like you have to understand that your body's a temple. You are of my blood. And can nobody touch you. I don't care if you got that little gym teacher at your school, he's a man, he wants to sit you on the lap, you always Santa Claus, you say I don't sit on Santa's lap. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, so all the kids be lying. I was like, Santa, I gotta stand right here. But you know what I mean? But that was how I was brought up. So a lot of times when if somebody tried, they just knew that I wasn't, like I think they know sometimes who to be played with. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like, because it's not even that it's always an absentee parent, it's that sometimes that person seem a little like, I must seem a little off. Like, you know what I mean? And so I would think that for me, it didn't happen. Like, even I went to go stay with this doctor, and another woman was there before me, and he had his dick out one of the days, and I was in there, and the older lady was like, hey, your dick out. He was like, I don't fuck, it's my house. But come to find out, before I got there, another girl who was there, she stayed in his bed. When I got there, he was in his bed, smoking weed. I was like, oh, so it's multiple rooms, somebody in the other room, where I'm sleeping. He was like, oh, you the Capricorn. I was like, if you gonna let him get out the bed, I'll sleep on the couch. She said, no, I can't have no girl sleeping on the couch. So he was pissed that I kicked him out of his own room, but I didn't. Would you assume that I was gonna sleep with you? But you flew me out here? That's not gonna happen. So it's like, I think they know who to play with, but because of my grandma and my mom teaching me to kill.
Yeah.
That's great. You study, psychology, and you've also studied human sexuality and everything else like that. You got degrees on all this shit. It's outside of the black version of this shit where we be like killing me. What from your studies and your credentials, what do you think the right approach is towards instilling that into the youth in a way to give them that confidence, boy or girl, to be able to speak up for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like one of my mentors in school, one of my professors, she said that she's been talking to her children about sexuality, consent, and sexual education since they were 3. So it's kind of like what we were saying earlier. I mean, if you want to teach your kids to kill and to have the keys in your hand, I mean, yes, protect yourself. But aside from that, there are appropriate ways to talk about sexuality with your child, with someone who's 3. Use the language that they understand, and you have to keep having those conversations as they grow up, and keep changing the language as they grow up. And you have to grow with them. And I just think that a lot of people who become parents, their parents didn't really talk to them, and so it's all just like generational. Everything is like a generational curse, and at some point somebody has to break that link. And I really feel like our generation, like millennials, I definitely feel like, okay, now we're starting to get it. We're starting to figure it out. It took a really long time, took a lot of generations to get to us, but like we're starting to figure out where it's like, oh, okay, this is what we need to be doing. Because this didn't happen from my parents, and now look at the way things happen for me. So I want to change that now for my kids. And I think that when we have kids, or if you have kids, then they'll continue to do what you taught them. So, yeah, I mean, it's all just about
using a language someone who's 3 years old can understand. Bounce?
Did you finish it?
I was gonna just piggyback on her. I got a 10-year-old daughter, and she's went to this daycare. And obviously, daycares be jank, and the parents be jank at daycare. So it was a situation where she was, you know, touched on or whatever, and she told her mom told me. And it was kind of like a conversation where it's like, you don't really want your dad to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to approach the situation kind of weird because I was a little pissed off at the time. Like, I get the keys thing because it's, I'm going to do the killing. But I had to just let my daughter know that this isn't something you can't come back from. This as long as we can communicate, do it all the way. Like, you come home, you tell your parents, we can handle it. We're not like, because I think for my daughter, she was like, well, I don't want to make things hard for the environment I'm in.
Yeah.
And so
That's
I had to delicately communicate to her and her mom, I'm not here to create World War Z.
Yeah.
I'm here to be a safe space that you can come talk to, and we can discuss these things as a family and get through it. You know, whatever our course of action that, you know, is best for the situation. Because obviously we don't get better daycare.
Sure.
But, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't have to feel like this is something you have to suffer through or stomach or whatever it is. Just come talk to us and we'll address it like that. So, to, you know, to piggyback on that, actively being in the situation, it's like, yeah, that helps a lot.
For sure.
Because I think even for me and our parents, it's like there was no real line of communication. It's like, yo, this is what happened to me without you getting 1,000 questions. Well, where were you? Why the fuck you go over there? And like, I'm still gonna beat your ass. It's like, god damn, God damn, I didn't do anything. Like, so even that, so just seeing, like, now that I'm a parent, I see kind of where our parents did it right, but did it so wrong because the times were different. The information was different. And we have more information now. We have access to things like this now, so we can start the conversation and really be the new leaders of the revolution.
Yeah.
And see the change. Be the change we want to see. For sure.
Well, let me just say, what you did was so beautiful and so powerful for a little girl, because we are scared to tell our dads.
Absolutely.
Particularly, and my dad was scary when we were little, so young and crazy as hell. So I'm just like, I'm scared that you're gonna kill somebody and go to jail. And it's like, you don't always have to be reactive. So the fact that you had a delicate conversation was perfect. And also, just continuing this conversation on like, how do we advise our children, this boy or girl? I don't leave it at that, but just I feel like reaffirming their no in the home, because we shut down children so much. It's like you think, oh, well, I can say no to the bad things, but it's like you should be able to have autonomy in this house too. You are a person, so yeah, it could be no to weird touch, but it could also be no to I don't want to hug that family member. Like I just don't want to. However that looks, but I want them to know, like, you do have a voice, and then we have to actively be doing that in the house. So it's like, I know, or we can have a conversation. You said, no, you don't want to do this. I'm going to explain to you why you kind of have to do this, and we'll work through it, and so on and so forth, and that gentle parenting we talk about. And you're, you know, I'm the parent, and this is why I'm doing this. It's not to hurt you. It's like a dance. It really is a beautiful dance, but...
I just want to say, man, this is an extremely, extremely vulnerable conversation. And I appreciate y'all as, you know, creators, people who have contributed to the making of this film and this overall message that's going to go out, you know what I mean? The truth of the matter is a lot of niggas just not going to watch this shit they know this about. So we already thinking about different versions of the rap or performance art, ways to get people to engage with the film in a way that's gonna make them feel like they can have a conversation. And this is one of those things. Your vulnerability is appreciated because of the fact that it's gonna allow people to look and engage with this film and the conversations that come from this film much more than what they might feel comfortable doing with their friends anyway. They can watch the doctor. Yeah, well, they could you know what I'm saying, unpack some of the shit. Yeah, even just the little sound bites we might be able to put online and things of that nature. You know what I mean? It goes a long way. And just from a human perspective, man, like I said, y'all have shared so many vulnerable ass stories, and I'm emotionally touched because I learn every day more and more how you have to think. Even some of the fellas, you know what I'm saying, the stories y'all share, I'm like, man, it's fucked up. But, you know, we had the wisdom and the gems and the tools that we have now in our mid to late 20s and 30s when we was younger. Man, I'm sure all of y'all is leaders. That's what I do know. I don't think none of y'all was like followers in that capacity. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how much more we could have been kicking games to our niggas and our homegirls and everything else like that to have better interactions and opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So it's never too late. I think we're doing it now. And I just wanted to say once again, I really appreciate y'all for being a part of this process and trusting me with this vision. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, to end it also, because I know we didn't really talk about culture and music and stuff like that. And I know that your main thing with this film was you want men to hold men accountable.
Absolutely.
I really am hoping that when it's out there in the world, that maybe it inspires more art or more conversations about men challenging other men about some of their views that can be harmful. And just teaching, because we talk about teaching children, but also that it's happening a lot to older women and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we can see a shift in our culture as well, because as much as I love the culture and I love shake my ass, I see, especially just as an older person, it is kind of harmful. It is hard to separate from the entertainment, and I don't want to see a world where it's just like creating more harmful stereotypes or more harmful situations for people. So I'm hoping that we can have a sex positive rap genre where it's like, yeah, we love fucking, and that's okay. We got consent to do it, so it doesn't have to be weird. I don't have to degrade you to get it and stuff like that. I'm hoping we're gonna shift into a better space now that the healing is taking place.
100%. And really just to recognize you, bro, because at the end of the day, all this conversation that we're having, right, and even us saying hopefully this leads to something, is with you taking the step, right, and executing the vision, right. So thanks to you, right, because this is going to mean a lot to the ecosystem, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And this is where it starts, right? So yeah, everybody, we all got together to support you because we believe in you, but it's also thanks to you for being bold enough, right, and doing what you needed to do to carry this out, because it all starts with that, right? So really great job to every single one of you. I already spoke to you guys that performed. It was a phenomenal project, and like you said, and just like props to you, bro, for real. I know we already speak, but
I'm learning how to just say thank you.
Receiving.
I'm learning how to receive. Yeah. All right, let's hit the lights one last time. Let's watch this music video, and then, feel free to please take more food and all of that. You dig? One word to describe this film. Why should people watch it?
Needed.
Needed?
Needed. Because we don't have these conversations in our culture, especially in the male, realm of things. We don't have these conversations. So it's interesting to see a film about this thing and then be able to sit and talk about it and have a conversation. That's some stuff we just don't do. So needed. That's my word.
Impactful.
Impactful?
It's impactful.
Make me mad at it. I'm gonna say provocative. It provokes way too many emotions in my body at one time.
One word to describe the film, I would say educational.
Reality.
Reality.
Oh man, one word to describe the other foot. If it's been said already, I apologize, but I'm gonna say truth.
Life-changing.
Life-changing?
That's 2 words, but
We'll take it. We can do life-changing.
thank you. Because that's exactly what it is. It's going to change lives. Progressive.
Progressive?
One word, bro.
One word.
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Okay.
Riveting.
Oh my God. It's a combo. It's a combo word. Thought-provoking.
Thought-provoking. Okay.
Okay, it's a hyphen word. Ish. Eye-opening.
I can't use one word. I gotta use more than a couple.
All right, let's do it.
The conversation that's not often had, but needs to be had.
I cried. Every iteration of the film that I've seen from beginning to end, I cried each time because I relate to Keisha in the film, even though we don't see Keisha. And it's my testimony that I feel like didn't even know when I was helping to fund or executive produce the film that it was going to turn into low-key my story. So it gave me a safe place to just talk about testimony amongst the tribe of people that you guys will see. So brilliant, divine testimony, if you will, is what I say.
Just enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
It brings light to a topic that needs to be discussed using portraying characters that are a part of the audience that needs to hear it. So it kind of combines those words like that. And this is a very powerful message, shot and directed and written in a very beautiful way.
You know what? Let me just say a few things.
What's that?
Out of everybody that made this movie, or that could have made this movie, I genuinely believe Dante is the only one that can make this movie.
Wow.
Dante curated this space for everybody to feel safe and be vulnerable. And truly though, like real talk though, I do feel like Dante was truly the chosen one to make this, and nobody could have made this movie the way he did. So thank you, Dante, for creating a space for people to be vulnerable, to be able to be honest, and to be able to share their feelings in a way that feels safe.